you have some of my speculation pieces if you like. But, one of the things that that the storytellers used to do, especially if they had young people sitting to listen to the story, they would ask them, what do you think that was about? What do you think that story was about? To generate questions and to generate thoughts. And because we're given free will for a reason. And so they always talk about that as part of recognizing responsibility for free will. Just saying. Anyway, okay. Are we back to recording?
Yep, we are.
Okay. So, some of the times, or some of the questions that have been emerging in this past couple of years, because we've been dealing with this pandemic situation, and sometimes we deal with it really well, and sometimes we have a struggle. And so somebody asked, how can we use our culture to support our mental well-being? And for me, I believe that to achieve a good depth of healing and well-being, we only have to look at our creation story. Because that story didn't just talk about the things that we did well. And so I've operated from the premise and in the belief that the Creator didn't make any mistakes. James Nadeau really put his mind to the creation of all of this universe and how well it fit together. And even we fit together with the creation. We simply have a lot more work in front of us to ensure that we do not harm the creation by living out our lives. So that's one of the things that, that recognition of our responsibility for our place in this creation. Is the animals and the plants, they all live by instinct. We live according to how we understand our place in creation. And when Gertie Nadeau set about to make this place for us and to create us in those times, we were not intended to be a harmful factor. We were created to be that part of creation that called upon our relationship with Gertie Nadeau. And every relationship we get involved in has a responsibility attached to it. And so when we lift our tobacco and we acknowledge the Creator and everything that He has given to us, or they have given to us. I don't know all the um, um, pronoun ways of doing things, but when they are acknowledged for everything that they have given to us, we acknowledge our gratitude for life, and um, and we acknowledge that the Creator promised us a good life, and nobody, as far as I know, has ever said, and the Creator promised us an easy life. It was not intended to be just, us coasting through. And so we have responsibilities in our life for being able to maintain our relationship with the Creator. But we also have relationships with each other as human beings. The first and foremost one is with our parents. And that was intended to be um, a relationship that we recognize as having our first teachers. They have this responsibility to teach us about life, to teach us how to use the gifts that we're born with, and the gifts that we're born with. Um, our spirit brings 4 gifts, and those 4 gifts are kindness, honesty, generosity, and strength. The gift that was given to human beings directly was free will. And don't forget, we were also given, the Creator shared His thoughts with us. Jaminado shared His thoughts with us. And so when our free will kicks in, we have to decide on that basis, like on the thought process that we use, what it is we're going to do. So don't ever get the idea that you can just do something thoughtless. It doesn't work that way. There's a great deal of responsibility attached to having free will. Nonetheless, to help us as human beings, we were sent those 4 gifts that came with our spirit. And our spirit brings those gifts, and our parents teach us how to learn to live with them, how to learn to live by them, how to bring those gifts into all of our relationships. And the way they teach us that is by how they behave themselves. So if your parents are kind to each other, you're going to learn to be kind. And if your parents show you that honesty, you're going to be honest. And if they are generous with each other, you're going to learn how to share and be generous yourself. And if you have strength and belief, you see that in your parents, that when one is strong, the other one, and the other one not so strong, they hold each other up and they work together to help each other. You're going to know how to do that in your relationships as well. And so by the time we're 4 and 5 years old, our parents should be pretty confident that we know how to use the gifts that the Creator gave us. And so, so when we go out into the world and we create new relationships and we have all our friends, I always think about this because when I was, I guess about maybe around the time I started talking, my cousin came from next door and became my friend. And she would have been a year older than me. And and so um, I was just talking to her last week, and we hardly see each other anymore, but we're still friends. We're still best friends forever. And um, and it's the easiest friendship, because wherever we left off last time, that's where we pick up again this time. Happiness and joy to hear each other's voices, and able to share the joys and sorrows of life, and to be able to um, share our feelings with each other about the things that are important to us, and to joke around and laugh a little bit and shed a few tears. All of those things come because our relationship has been a lifelong one. And we don't worry too much about, oh, how many years since I've seen you? Oh, it's been over 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's been. Um, that's okay, because if I had needed, emergency friendship, I would have been able to. And so when we bring those four gifts into our relationships, to bring kindness to somebody who needs it is one thing. But to bring kindness to someone just because that's what we have to do with our friends and our people that we love and care about, that's important, so they will always know it's there. And so we've been given those teachings and those gifts to live our lives. And um, and so when we talk about our culture as as a as a way of maintaining our mental well-being throughout a pandemic, there's quite a few things that we have. We have all kinds of things that we can draw on in our culture. In our creation story, it talks about the time when the Creator planted His own thoughts into our minds, that He shared His mind with us. And so, because the Creator's thoughts are not limited, ours are not limited either. We have that same capacity to think beyond this moment in time, and consider how many billions of years have gone by already for us to be here in this place at this time. And we have to recognize how long the plan was for us to finally arrive. And here we are. And we can't do something for a little while until a pandemic has passed by. But even a few hundred years ago, there was a pandemic going on right across this continent that was brought over by the ships. And there were smallpox pandemic, there was diphtheria, there was scarlet fever, there was measles, mumps, rubella, all of those diseases that came that we had no immunity to and no way to fight those off internally. We lived through those. Our ancestors lived through those. And in spite of the fact that so many of our ancestors lost their lives to those epidemics, they call them, but in our world, they would have been a pandemic because everybody was hit very hard by them. We learned what kind of self-discipline it takes to live through that kind of epidemic, and what you have to do, how much self-discipline it takes to live through it. And so we have to draw on our knowledge that the Creator's time is, the sense of time is different. And the sense of isolation. The Creator lived through that isolation, that aloneness, and he set about to find ways to change that. When this pandemic started, people were asking me, would you be willing to join us on a Zoom call? And because I didn't know what it was, I was kind of hesitant at first. And even though I wasn't quite sure how to do it, I kind of figured it out. And I'm not real great at it, but I can join a Zoom call. I'm okay with that. And we are adaptable people. That was one of the things that we learned about ourselves, is how adaptable we are. And that's a resiliency factor. You know, when they talk about resiliency, it makes you sound like you're an elastic band and you can stretch and stretch and stretch, bounce back from anything. But we take our experiences and we analyze them, and we have a close look at them, and then we decide, what did we learn from that, and how will this be effective in my life from now on, and we move on from that. So all of this stuff that I've seen in especially on the computer, because I'm quite comfortable with the computer most of the time. I started seeing things like young people practicing their dancing. You know, the busted a move here and there and everywhere, and so beautiful, so absolutely beautiful in their movement and their joy in life. And to do that, even though there's nobody else around, and to show that to the world, and to say, I'm out here dancing for joy and dancing for the Creator. What are you up to? And then other young people joined in and started to dance as well. That to me is never giving up. And that's what the Creator did. He never gave up. Never gave up wanting to make connections, and going as far as he had to go in order to make those connections, to be able to create a form of life that would be able to, by their own free will, maintain their connection to the Creator, and offer that tobacco, offer that sema, to say miigwech for life. And to acknowledge that we have been given a good life all the way around. And we know how to deal with the challenges and the struggles that we may encounter along the way. And we know how to make connections and ask for help. So I don't know if that has anything to do with culture. I do know that people post some of the funniest things on the YouTube and Facebook, and sometimes I go over there and I have a look at things, and I just have to smile because there's my people, there's my relatives enjoying life. I don't know if they're Bear Clan or not, but not every ancestor I ever had is Bear Clan. So, there's a few who were from other clans. I'd have to say there's at least one in every generation of my ancestors who was a different clan from my grandfathers. So there you have it. We've been given so much by the Creator. We were given all of the teachings, all of the life stories and the creation stories. All of those have been given to us and maintained for us by our ancestors and passed down. So all of that is there for us. Because I can tell you from my knowledge of the creation story that we were not always in a good place. We did not always live the best life that you can live. That sometimes we forgot our relationship with the Creator. And when we did that, as a people, we began to suffer. And as a people, we were given at one time we were given the pipe. At another time we were given the clan system. At another time we were given the sweat lodge. And another time we were given the 7 gifts from the grandfathers. So all of those things that we have in our teachings, in our creation story, we can bring them forward to today and put them into our lives because that's where they belong. Our ancestors worked for those teachings, and to give them life is the gift that they left us. They left that on our trail so that we could see it when we needed it. And so even though the social dances and those sorts of events are not necessarily ceremonies, they are a celebration of life. And in celebrating life, you can't help but celebrate creation. And so all of that is part of our culture. The songs, I always laugh because most of the songs I know are from ceremonies, but some of the songs that the hand drum singers know are so beautiful. And I think, oh my, I've neglected some part of my education because I don't know those songs, and yet they lift me up. They are, they fill me with joy when I hear the women's voices raised up in song. I'm happy. So, if all else fails, our culture tells us that when we're feeling lost or alone or isolated, we can go and sit with our mother. Sit with our mother, the earth, and she will take you back. She will take you and take care of you. And she will always welcome you. And you sit, out on the ground. I don't do this anymore because getting down there is not so hard. It's getting back up that's not so great for me. But I would say that if you sit beside a favorite tree and offer tobacco to the earth, basically give her thanks for giving us life and for taking care of us. She will show you how much more she's willing to do for you. So that's part of using our culture to maintain our mental well-being. Um, but I do also recognize when somebody goes fishing and they catch a fish, just the joy of that. That fish gave up, is willing to share its life with us. That's a big deal. And people who go fishing with rod and reels, they have a specific kind of joy that they take in the ones that they caught and the ones that got away. All of those things just take joy in life, and you will be using your culture to find that good life for yourself. Bimad is a full-on concept, body, mind, spirit, and heart work together to find a good life. So I would encourage you to do that, to find something in your own culture that that you connect to, and explore the teaching that goes with it. And don't forget that your name, your spirit name, carries a teaching. And in carrying that teaching,